How's it going, everybody? My name is David and welcome to Everything Economics. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys what is an economist. And essentially an economist is a type of scientist, one who solves problems or solves puzzles in order to gain a greater understanding to be able to explain the world around us. And essentially, when you're an economist, the main concept, the main question you're going to be asking yourselves on a daily basis is this question right here. How to allocate scarce resources in the most efficient way. Let me read that again to you guys. How to allocate scarce resources in the most efficient way possible. And for those of you guys who don't know what the term scarce means, all it means is limited. That's all it means. Simple. And so this concept right here of what an economist does, what it clashes with is this idea of human nature. Because us humans, as you guys already know, we have an unlimited desire. We have a long list of wants and needs. So what economists will do is, hey, what are those needs? What are those needs or what are those wants that you have, right? How do we fulfill that? Or how do we fulfill as many as possible? So let's just say, for example, we want a car, right? So this is going to be our car. This is you. In your car, right? But how do we get to that? How do we get to you rolling up in that new car of yours? So let's look at our resources. Some of the basic resources are time and money. So economists will search into or research this topic and be like, hey, how do we use our time and money as efficient as possible so that we can buy our way into getting this brand new car for ourselves? So that's essentially what economists does. And I just want to tear down one of the big misconceptions about economics. It's just about money and allocating funds, but it's not. Economics is not just about monetary. It's not just about money, because there's some economists out there that all they do is study about behavior. It's almost like they're more of a psychologist than they're more about like the money, right? But essentially, there's some economists out there who study things about like the consumption of coffee. What was the consumption of coffee back then 2 decades ago versus now in 2021? So that was one of the big misconceptions I wanted to tear down. And so now on the left-hand side of this whiteboard, we're going to go into the 2 main roles an economist can play. Number 1, they can be a scientist, like how I said earlier, and they make positive statements. I'm going to explain that further in just a sec, okay? Stay with me. Number 2 is policy advisor. They make normative advice or statements. So essentially what a scientist does, or an economist that takes up the role of a scientist, is they make positive statements. And essentially what positive statements are is they state facts, right? Whether they're right or wrong, they're stating facts. So they state what it is. Okay, so that might get confused. Okay, so this is all positive right here. They state what it is, or what is. They state facts. Normative is what it should be. What it should be. So an example of this is, let's just take a topic of minimum wage. I'm gonna write it down here. Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. Minimum wage. So essentially, what a scientist would do is they make a positive statement on what it is, or what are the facts. So right now, the federal minimum wage, I think, is $7.25. So the economist taking up this role of a scientist will say, hey, the minimum wage is $7.25, which is a fact, okay? So that's a positive statement. What a policy advisor will say is they're trying to give their advice and using their knowledge on saying what it should be. Hey, that's not a livable wage, $7.25. Rents are going up, things of that sort. Expenses are going up even higher. How are people supposed to live on this poverty wage, right? So that's what the perspective of a policy advisor would take up, right? So a normative statement would be, hey, yeah, I understand it's $7.25. That's not livable. Let's make it $10. A $10 minimum wage. So scientist says this is what it is. $7.25 is the minimum wage. Policy advisor is $10. That's what the minimum wage should be. Those are the main difference. What it should be, what it is. So that's going to be wrapping up the video of what an economist is. And just to conclude, I want to emphasize on this concept of right here is this is essentially what economics is. This is one of the best definitions. It's how to allocate scarce resources in the most efficient way. whether it be money, and it doesn't have to be money, right? Whether it's time or any other kind of resources you're trying to allocate. How to be as efficient as possible so that you can meet all those unlimited desires and wants that us humans have, right? All those lists of wants and needs. And lastly, here are the two types of roles an economist can take up. Number one is scientist. Number two is policy advisor. So scientists, they make positive statements. Let me get my red marker out. Or actually, let me get my black marker out. They make positive statements, and they say the facts, what it is. Whether it's right or wrong, that's what they try to do. Number two is policy advisor. They make normative statements, and they say what it should be. Scientists, hey, minimum wage $7.25. Policy advisors, it should be $10. That's a livable wage. So those are the two differences, okay? So that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something new. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great day and peace.